Hi everyone, welcome to Business in Canada Do It Right. I'm Eugene Jakubov. Today's second part of the frequently asked questions about incorporating your business in Canada, and today's part is more relevant for non-Canadian incorporators. I see many questions coming from people who are not located in Canada. They have less access to the Canadian information resources, and so have more confusion and more questions about starting their business in Canada, specifically in their status as non-resident incorporators. So today I will cover some of the more frequent questions that I have to deal with, whether talking to my clients or getting your questions online. Let's start, and the first question that I usually being asked is, can I incorporate as a non-resident in Canada? The simple answer is yes. Any law in any province in Canada will allow for non-Canadian residents to incorporate. You just have to pay attention that some of the provinces, and specifically federal incorporation, but other provinces as well, might require that 25% of the directors to be Canadian citizens or permanent residents that live in Canada. So except for this requirement, even then you still can incorporate. You just will need someone in Canada that will manage your business, or at least will be a part of the board of directors. So in the provinces of Ontario, British Columbia, Alberta, Ontario is the most recent one. This requirement was cancelled, and the local director is no longer required. So the company in these provinces could be incorporated, managed, directed by non-Canadian residents, 100%. There are no limitations whatsoever. Can I incorporate as a work or student permit holder? And this is a very complicated question that might have a somewhat unpleasant consequences, because the simple answer is yes. You being work permit or student permit or postgraduate work permit holder, you're not prevented from incorporating your business in Canada. The problem is that you have to distinguish between a situation where you incorporated a business and where you operate a business. And in many cases, we, of course, operate a business in order to operate it. And that could become a problem, because your work permit, if it's limited to one employer, then it means you essentially are not allowed to work for anyone else, including for your own corporation. If you're a student, there could be some limitations on the work permit, so you have to be careful that you comply with those limitations. If you're on open work permit on the other side, usually this is not a problem, but make sure that you verify the conditions of your work permits and comply with them while you try to operate your business in Canada. Another question that I see a lot is that as a non-resident, can I register sole proprietorship? And people think that operating sole proprietorship is a simpler and more straightforward way. Might be the case, but watch my video about the differences between sole proprietorship and corporation in order to understand what are also the risks in operating the business this way. My opinion that this option is not really available for non-Canadian residents that are not located in Canada, because sole proprietorship is essentially a person who operates a business, creates personal income as a part of the business operations. It is based on your social insurance number, and therefore, being non-Canadian resident, you do not have one, you will not be able to report that income as a sole proprietor. Another point for consideration, and important consideration, is the situation where you are a work permit holder or student permit holder. In this case, as an opposite to the corporation, which is a separate legal entity, you essentially created a new company, and then you might be employed by that company. The sole proprietorship is you operate the business. Now, in my opinion, this would be 100% contrary to the terms of your work permit, which is a permit to be employed by someone, or student permit, which is a permit to, again, either attend an educational institution or be employed by someone during your studies. Sole proprietorship is specifically something that is not employed by someone, but operate your own business. And therefore, I think this will not be available for non-Canadian residents, whether you are in Canada or not Canada. And no matter what your approach will be, there might be other sources of information online that you can find. I always suggest to approach the situation of sole proprietorship with care, because there's no separate legal entity, so it could be a problem. Specifically, if I'm right and you're wrong, you might end up losing your work permit and any chance of getting permanent residency in Canada. So do your homework, make your very, very thorough verification before you decide. Can I register an LLC in Canada? And the answer is not really. So in Canada specifically, LLC doesn't exist. LLC is a United States based type of legal entity, which is a kind of hybrid between a partnership and corporation. It is very close to what we have in Canada as a limited liability partnership, but we do not have this as a recognized entity that you can register or incorporate in Canada. What does happen sometimes is that a US registered LLC, when they want to register to operate their business in Canada as an extra provincial registration, they will end up being a Canadian LLC, but the point is they're not Canadian LLC, they're US based LLC authorized to operate their business in Canada. So if you want to start an LLC, it's not an option in Canada at all. What would be my corporate tax rate if I incorporate as a non-Canadian resident? So there is essentially big difference between corporations being owned by Canadian residents or corporation being owned by non-Canadian residents. There is a 51% control rule, which is called Canadian Controlled Private Corporation, CCPC. Whereas for non-Canadian residents, the tax rate is 26%. More or less, it will vary from one province to another because all the tax system in Canada is based on a provincial basis. But Ontario and British Columbia are very close to each other, 25 to 26%. On the other side, for Canadians that do comply with CCPC, the tax rate goes significantly lower to 12, 13%. In some provinces, it goes as low as 8%. So if you have a Canadian, let's say, relative that you trust enough to give them more than 51% of the shares, then they will be participating in the business because the controlled point of the rule is actual control of the corporation. You might use that person to reduce the tax by almost 2.5 times. Do you need a local address to incorporate in Canada? The answer is yes, and you must have a physical address where your business will be registered in the province where you want to register. We at CBS provide this service if you need. If you have someone who lives in Canada who can help you, they could provide you with their address. It could be commercial or residential. There are no limitations on the type of address where you can register a business. So you can use anyone you know here, or you can come to us. It's a paid service, but not too expensive. We can assist you with this. Do you need to come to Canada to incorporate? The answer is no. We can do everything remotely. We don't need you to come here. We don't need you to waste your time and money to fly into Canada. We don't need physical documents to register a business. We need just legible, clear copies of your personal identification documents. If you want to use your business as a shareholder, then we will need the articles and certificate of incorporation, but nothing beyond that. We communicate a lot with our clients by email. We have online registration application through which you can submit your incorporation application with us. We'll take it over and we'll have the company registered in 3 to 10 business days, depending on the province where we register. But the process is pretty straightforward. We can assist you with everything A to Z. Contact us. I'll provide you more information. Can I use a corporation for immigration purposes? The simple answer is yes, but there are multiple federal and provincial programs that allow business entrepreneurs to apply for work permit that will or may lead in the future for the permanent residency. But you have to talk to immigration consultant, which I don't do. I do not provide immigration services. Depending on the provinces, depending on the programs, different requirements might apply for your setup, corporate setup, specifically shareholdings, and you must discuss this with your immigration consultant in order to understand what is required, and then you will let me know, and I'll prepare your corporation in a form that will support your future work permit application. We work with many immigration consultants, and I know the process. I just don't provide the services, but I understand how the processes work, and always here to assist you with incorporating your business in support of your immigration application, either as a owner-operator, what was previously known, or intercompany transfer, or any other form of immigration. How do I take money out of a corporation as a non-resident? It is a complicated question. We will need to assess it on your personal situation, but you have a few options. Without work permit, of course, you cannot pay yourself salary. So the only options that you have remaining are dividends, consulting fees, or just extra company billing. So if you have a company in the country of your residency and you want to operate the same business in Canada, you will be using the services of that company for administration, licensing of intellectual property, the name, you name it. You can charge the Canadian company to take money out, or if you continue to recognize profits in Canada, pay Canadian income tax, you then can pay yourself dividends. Again, be careful, talk to an accountant before you do so, because there are certain rules that apply to this type of transactions. There could be withholding at source in Canada, which you will be able to deal with in the future and to try to claim it back. But again, there are multiple options. Talk to us. I and my CPA partners will review your situations and will come with a solution to your particular set of circumstances that will help you to take money out of corporation, but still not end up paying unnecessary tax liabilities in Canada if you don't have to. This covers today's presentation. Thank you for being with me today. Eugene from CBS, Canadian Business and Enterprise Services. I invite you to visit my new project if you already have a business in Canada, which is businessdocs.ca, where you can get business templates, corporate, business, employment, different documents. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel below. Like us if you like the video, leave your comments, suggest new topics. I will come up with new videos, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye, and good luck with your business.